everybody. Welcome. Let's check the dashboard. Chatboard doesn't want to launch chat, so whatever. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Let's get right into it. Yes, you know, indeed. I'll get to that in a second. Hi, Velka.
It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge.
Surprisingly enough, we'll get here much later.
In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones.
Moxie.
Saint of the Deep.
Note how there's a fire right in front of Aldrich. It reflects off of him.
Undead Legion, the Abyss Watchers.
And they are also rising out of coffins. And this guy is not a morning person. Note his face, by the way. Yorm's face is interesting to note. Because it'll look like an enemy we meet very, very, very much later.
Only in truth, the lords will abandon their throne.
There's a darkness swirl in the back of her crown you don't see in game.
And the unkindled will rise. Nameless.
Whoops. Hey, Go Border. Welcome. Thanks for those. This is present time. There's a bonfire. There's this soul of Cinder wearing the Firelink armor and carrying probably us. Being baptized by Ash. Hey, Bourbon. Playing the Ring City makes me wonder about that because the Harald Knights have the very same humanity head thing because they're actually just empty suits of armor, but their humanity ball hangs out at their head and controls their old bodies. So in my view, like having Yorm's head is just his humanity, is just what's left of him, is just his humanity. Some things about that opening cinematic, since it is probably the most lore specific to the actual game, whereas Dark Souls 2 is like, hey, let's have a David Lynch film for our opening cinematic. And the opening cinematic for Dark Souls 1 is basically setting the stage. It's not like, here's what's happening right now. It's like, here's what has happened in the past that will come back to bite you in the butt. Yeah, exactly, Dangle. So, but like the Harald Knights are only the humanity. Their entire body got subsumed and their armor bloated. That's why their armor looks big and fat and stuff like that. But the only thing controlling their body is their humanity thing. And that's going to come up a few times later. Once in Irithyll, off the top of my head, and then once again with Yorm in the opening cinematic there. I'm pretty sure the only thing that's keeping Yorm alive, quote unquote, is his humanity. And like the opening cinematic kind of slips that. Let's see here. It shows one of the final images is a knight in the Firelink armor being baptized by Ash. And as we know from Dark Souls 2, Ash's memory. Let's see here. We have the pilgrims venturing, quote, north, but I wouldn't put it past FromSoft to actually mean up, considering FromSoft likes using our ideas of colloquial English against us. So, like, consider kind of the meta, like, the world layout. You basically go straight up and down, kind of diagonally, kind of like Bloodborne, because Bloodborne, if you think about it, you start in one place and then you go in this really huge spiral downwards pattern down to Rom, and then when you hit Rom, she bounces you right back up. It's kind of the same in Dark Souls 3. You kind of go in this kind of spiraling down pattern, but not like straight diagonal, but like you kind of spiral all the way down into Irithyll and then the dungeon, and then you bounce right back up to where you started. But yeah, the one thing I wanted to say, I know Motsky and Ghostman kind of joked, but the opening, the main menu theme is important because it is an actual theme, because the other two games don't have, like, Dark Souls 1 is absolutely silent. Dark Souls 2 has this kind of low crescendo, but like, pay very close mind to the soundtrack in this game, because the soundtrack in this game, more than the other two games, are lore important for their bells that you keep hearing, because in my view, the bells will sound and are sounding, but like, it doesn't work for the atmosphere of the game to just keep having a bell sound, so it's silent for the most part. But like, you get bells for pretty much every boss fight in the game. So let's go through the classes, because the classes actually have like concepts like Bloodborne does. If you want to, this will be a let me actually change the password. This will be a community run. If you want to join, I will summon you. Otherwise, it's no skin off my nose. I figure that might be a little bit more fun for people. Let's see here. Alright, the password is going to be Etain. So let's go through the classes. It's going to be a little bit of waiting, because I have to decide. I know what the build is going to look like at the end, but I need to see what the best one is. Oh, that was my dog. My dog. He came over, he made sure I was here, and then he turned around and left again. So I wouldn't take these little lore bits about our starting class as anything more than a concept. It's much like Bloodborne. But they do have a bit of things here and there, and pay a special careful look at the cleric, because the clerics are sneakily important at the very end of the game. Which probably also defines why Patches hates the clerics, but we'll get there. Hey, Vod. Or Vod. An obscure knight of poor renown who collapsed roaming the land. Sturdy, owing to a high vitality and stout armor. This one is... Actually, my first build started as one of these. A mercenary and veteran of the battlefield. I wanted to play with the twin swords. I still love twin swords. Ha! Well, welcome. High dexterity allows masterful wielding of dual scimitars. Descendant of northern warriors famed for their brawn, utilizes high strength to wield a heavy battle axe. And he has more strength than I ever need, so he's out. A former herald who journeyed to finish a quest undertaken, wields a sturdy spear, and employs a gentle restorative miracle. Note that the common theme for pretty much all of them is that they were journeying, or they were roaming, or they were wandering somewhere. So that's a memory lost to your character, but you can fill in that blank as to why you were going anywhere. My thought is your end game is getting to the Ring City. Probably for the same reasons Patches is, but you forgot because you collapsed. And then you became a memory of fire. Thief. A common thief and pitiful deserter, wields a dagger intended for backstabs alongside a military-issue bow. I started a character on one of these a little while ago. Actually kind of useful. Assassin, which is the speedrunner's choice. An assassin who stalks their prey from the shadows, favors sorceries in addition to thrusting swords. Carries an estoc and spook and stuff like that. Sorcerer, a loner who left formal academia to pursue further research. Something that Dark Souls 1 points out is that the Venheim guys, they left anyway. Especially if they were good at what they were doing, they would just leave. Pyromancer. A pyromancer from a remote region who manipulates flame. Probably the swamp, but it doesn't confirm that at all. Also, an adept close combat warrior who wields a hand axe. Let me check something. 14, 14, 9, 12. The strength is kind of where I need it. It's what, 14, 12? Cleric. A traveling cleric who collapsed from exhaustion. This guy, I am more or less certain was going to the Ring City. Like, he knew about the Ring City, he was going there. Because one of the major enemies in the Ring City is wearing this armor, albeit really dirty and in need of a wash or 3. Channels high faith to cast many and varied miracles. And also the deprived. Naked and of unknown origin. The origin doesn't matter really. Either an unfathomable fool in life or was stripped of possessions upon burial. He's got a shield. He's ready for Dark Souls, man. Let me see here. I'm going for the Onyx Blade later. Which means, let me see here. Pyromancer is basically where I need him to be for strength. Almost where I need him to be for dex. I haven't started a Pyromancer. Guess I'll start a Pyromancer. Actually, not Owen. What's the name I had? Owen! Yeah, actually it's supposed to be Olwyn. Olwyn is a Welsh / Celtic goddess of the sun. And since Midir, Gwyn, and all the rest are basically Celtic gods, at least in name, I figured. Actually, let me see if there's anything. Ring set with a small red jewel, life ring. This is in every game, so it's super old and probably from the Ring City. Divine and hidden blessings are warm, blessed holy water, pure, blessed holy water. Black fire bombs. Fire bombs charged with a special attack, powder, an uncouth gift for the departed. Fire gem, which my first build started with this, so I can have a fire weapon pretty immediately. Comes in handy, I guess, but I am fire, so whatever. Sovereignless soul is kind of useless. Rusted gold coin, also kind of useless. Cracked Vedoi, whatever, kind of useless. Young white branch, pretty nice actually. You can skip it, but whatever. I like starting with the life ring. Yeah, Olwyn. She's a Welsh sun goddess. Let's see here. Actually, don't I have any favorites in here? This is my Meralda build. It looks really good, actually. If you've ever seen the drawing of Meralda from Demon Souls, that would be it. This is my Maiden Estrella. You don't really see her hair because of the maiden's hat, but this is the closest when it's under the maiden's hat. Let's start here and fix something. Yeah, that was originally used for Bridget, which is my sorcerer, and I'm just gonna take a face preset and like fix it or something. I forget how like weird it is to try and like change the color of anything. Alright, randomly if I see a sign, I'll pull it out or something. Warm up her face, no. Sure, whatever. Let's go, Pyromancer. Oh man, have you seen the character creation boss in Black Desert? Holy crap. You can basically make anything in Black Desert. Yeah, but if I see a sign, I'll pull it out. But you'll have to excuse me because I'll probably stop and like talk about things at random. So see, the ash is falling off of you, but I think you are made of ash, and ash is memory, as we know from Dark Souls 2. So you are yourself a memory. We'll be back here. Ah. Yeah, the silent, silent ally, yeah. Especially with, stream delay. Yeah, okay. Okay, wait, really? Huh. You come with this great swamp ring. Ring said to be chiseled from the bone of a flame salamander by blighted pyromancers living in the Great Swamp. Boosts pyromancy's. It is believed that salamanders are the descendants of demons, born of the chaos flame from which pyromancy is also said to have originated. A generations-old ring set with a small red jewel raises maximum HP. Rings have unique powers, and their discovery will do much to ease a wearisome journey. Let's see here. Attire of pyromancers of the Great Swamp, comprised of bronze ornamentation and animal pelt. In the Great Swamp, bronze was used ritualistically to ward off evil spirits and keep darkness at bay. Also using bronze are old hunters. Just putting that out there. Get the hell out of here. I don't have the binoculars yet, so I'm gonna come all the way back here. In the main game, this is where you would drop off from for the Untended graves. Right where that tree branch is growing out of the wall. So you would drop over here, and then you'd have to like kind of hang back around this way. A funny thing is that this map and the Untended Graves map do somewhat share the same messaging shard. So like you can find messages that don't make any sense at all. Until like you hit Untended Graves. I know have like messages that are just kind of like voted down because they have no idea what's going on. Like the location of the life ring +3 or +2 is in Untended Graves New Game Double Plus, and so I wrote a message there, and like people who have no idea like voted it down. That was rude. Well, I guess you don't like fire. We'll get to the first bonfire and then read some of the stuff that we also came with. Well, there's Oscar here. In this version, you get the Ashen Estus shard. And then, like, you'll pick up the gesture from him in the real game. We know very precious little about Oscar, actually. Like, Oscar, unless you, like, count the content where he's supposed to be a foil for the player character. But, Oscar, he was looking for a guy to fulfill a prophecy he knew he couldn't fulfill. And so maybe he had a bit of hope. Which is probably him. He was like reliant on hope. Even if he wouldn't make it there himself. Let's go fight, you rest. An overgrown crystal lizard. Actually, standard round wooden shield. It is decorated with twin snakes, an ancient symbol of the Great Swamp, which is interesting and striking because this is, well, twin snakes. I mean, Koth and Frompt. Wooden shields are light, manageable, and offer relatively high magic absorption. And it comes with parry. Flame catalyst used by pyromancers. Equip a pyromancy flame to utilize pyromancies. Pyromancies must be attuned at a bonfire before use. And it comes with combustion. Yeah. Vod, you're absolutely right. Eschatology, which is what this game is, it's the study of the end. Where Dark Souls 1 is more of a study of the beginning. And especially Christian eschatology, which is like Book of Revelations and stuff like that, comes from a place of hope, because you assume that there's a plan behind it. Done? Finished? Okay. It's nice. And so there's a hope that it is part of a plan, that somebody's got it under control somewhere. It looks really pretty. Do you like fire? It likes rocks. Range. Once again with that range. Yeah, I'm gonna die. I'm so far. Thanks for the follow. Travel time on the fireball is kind of weird. Flayster Ugachi, thanks for the follow. Soul of an Unknown Traveler. So we have a few soul packets. Let's read what they say. The fading soul of a corpse. Yeah, hold on. Soul found in a deserted corpse. And soul found in the corpse of an unknown traveler, which is most people. Most of them are traveling. Note that that's a thing in Dark Souls. 3. The dark sign is the sign of an accursed undead. The dark sign returns its bearer to the last bonfire rested at, or the bonfire at Firelink Shrine, but at the cost of all souls held. Carriers of the dark sign are reborn after death, and eventually lose their minds, turning hollow, and so it is they are driven from their homelands. A charm of farewell granted to banished undead. The crystal sends phantoms back to their homes, or you back to yours. Beware of fickle use of this item if you intend to nurture relations. Because cordial intrusions are the way to embers. Titanite altered by a soul reinforces soul transposed weapons to +4, also known as boss weapons. It's got the face of... It's got the writing of the face of a Titanite demon. So, take of that what you will. In rare cases, crystal lizards devour souls, growing to monstrous proportion and leaving these great scales. So that is that. There's a message here saying turn back. Yeah. It's like, go away. You're gonna have a bad time. They probably, like, eat them out of, like, the air or something. Yeah. Try this again. Partial. Little soul Roombas. They do kind of look like little soul Roombas. These guys either have fading souls or chimes, cleric chimes, by the way. Yeah, I'm just early. Man. Okay, much better. Fire bombs are fairly useful against Gundyr if you decide not to parry him. Especially for his Pus of Man phase, because Pus of Men will take damage, extra damage from fire. Character creation was pretty short because I just took an old face and like adjusted it a little bit. Ah, I jumped a little smidgen too far. Yeah, and I have a habit of being really aggressive too, so I don't doubt being dying to Gundyr. I can throw stuff too, you know. Yep, pretty much me too, vodka. Pretty much me too. Started with Bloodborne, went to Demon Souls, then Dark Souls 3, then Dark Souls 1, then Dark Souls 2. Scholar. Sure. I still say I don't need no stinking shields. I'm really bad about using shields. Like, I'll use shield when I know I'm gonna parry something. Or when I'm gonna try to parry something. Otherwise, shields are like my mana battery in this game. Ah, he command grabbed me. I totally misread that. Yeah. Yeah, I totally misread that and couldn't get out of the way. I die a lot in general, so like... whatever. I totally misread that. I thought he was gonna swing his halberd and then I got command grabbed instead. That's because I was trying to be all fancy. I have an old essay on Medium talking about what this place actually is, and it feels it's sort of a purgatory type of place. Get the hell down. Damn it. And yeah, you are right. He does have like that beginning stance where he kind of looks like a seed of a giant tree, or like a water tree or a giant tree. Hey Dova Design, thanks for the follow. His parry timing is very lenient. Like, the only times I whiffed there were because I was actually early. I have an alert box, but my computer is like 4 feet over there. So I just watch my monitor. I think it's case sensitive, but I'm not sure. I don't think it is. But I did put it in all caps. So if you want to be totally safe, then yeah. Yeah, it's case sensitive. Yeah. There's a homeward bone. There's not a whole lot to say about Gundyr right now, actually. He is your... I don't even think we get a soul out of him immediately. Yeah. We did get a broken sword, though, which is a straight sword with a broken blade. A weapon with no exceptional qualities, only a mad hollow would choose a fight with this. I'm really sad that infusing it hollow doesn't give it any, like, weird properties. A coiled sword. Sword missing from... The coiled sword is what you get instead of a soul, which I think is striking in that you get the coiled sword instead of a soul, in that it takes the place of that soul for this iteration of Gundyr. Sword missing from the shrine bonfire cannot be equipped as a weapon. Thrust into the shrine bonfire to restore its power and enable travel between bonfires. The sword is only bequeathed to chosen Ash, as judged by the Iudex, who rates the rival of Ash as a scabbard. And they say sword, quote, missing, and it makes me wonder if, like, Gundyr, like, took it, or stole it, but, like, he is also charged with judging chosen Ash as a scabbard. So there's a few different natives here that you've... I don't... Gundyr... Here's the thing about Gundyr. Gundyr is supposed to be the chosen undead of this age. Remember what Miyazaki said very early. Dark Souls 3 starts after the apocalypse has already started, which is really important because in Dark Souls 1, the apocalypse is something that is still in the future. Dark Souls 2, it might be less still in the future, but it's still in the future, and the age is being propped up by Aldia. There is no one propping this age right now. The apocalypse has come and gone. Gundyr was supposed to be the chosen undead, but he was imprisoned in the Untended graves, which caused him to miss his Firekeeper, and then stuff happened. And this was long enough ago that there were passion plays about it. So, I'm not sure if he even ever met it, but I think the mirroring and like the symbolism is there with regards to the soul of Cinder and Gundyr. Would you guys... Fine. Calm down. Oh, that's cute. Psych. Nothing here. Doggo. Chat, name the doggo of Firelink Shrine. See here. Just kind of landmarking real Cascoin. In the game, the very top there is the prince's room, and like it is in virtually the same space as the kiln, which would be like over here, like straight in front of me. Vort Jr. Come here, Vort Jr. Come here. Something struck me as kind of interesting with the armor. It looks really similar to Ludleth's, the very bottom there. Anyway, welcome to Firelink Shrine. This is your home. If you look up, you can see there's a place you can go. You can see all of the thrones. If you look really closely, you can see Ludleth over there, just head in his hands. You can see Navlan over... Oh, wait, I mean Hawkwood over here. Sure. Ludleth pretty much blends in, yeah. And I think that's on purpose, because a lot of people just kind of miss it. Yeah, Navlan's voice actor and Hawkwood's voice actor are the same. I don't have any binoculars yet. I have to go get them, but this is for Ego Border. I don't think you can even make a judgment whether they were amputated or they're gone. They're just not there, and whatever you could probably get from him is covered by his robes, which, might I add, are very similar to the bottom of these robes that I'm wearing right now. The innermost layer looks very similar to Ludleth's robes.
O thou unkindled, and a seeker of lords, I am Ludleth of Coiled. Look not in bewilderment as I say. I linked the fire long ago, becoming the lord of Cinder. If such then
Yeah, similar golden embroidery.
Set thine eyes upon my child.
And you never know exactly what he was capable of doing, other than making boss souls.
No need to be called. Have a closer look.
Interesting that he says this sad cadaver instead of my body. There's no ownership of his, quote, cadaver in his speech.
Knowest thou of our purpose? 5 thrones will take 5 lords as kindling for the linking of the fire. The fast fading flame must be linked to preserve this world. A reenactment.
My theory about Ludleth is that he adopted Coiled, and he was exiled from maybe the Ring City, and he adopted Coiled, because he says he's Ludleth of Coiled, but the thrones always say the truth. And the truth is that he's an exile.
Now, do not be away, Overgrown.
Yes, like Henri adopted Astora, because the thrones always will tell you the truth. And the truth is that he is actually Ludleth the Exiled. And everybody assumes that he was exiled from Coiled, but I think maybe he was exiled from the Ring City. No, I said a day or two, Hunter. Come on, man. Holy King Lothric, last hope of his line, because he is the acting and true king of Lothric, as we'll find out. Watchers of the Abyss, which is true. Yorm the Giant of the Profane Capital, also true. Let's talk to the Firekeeper. She looks very similar to the Kingsfield 4 fairy whatever she is.
I tend to the flame and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones and must be delivered to them.
What's her name, Hunter? In Kingsfield 4, the fey-looking creature by the Holy Spring in Kingsfield 4. You, Hunter? Okay. Because she looks exactly like her. Yeah, I know, it's like some weird, like, name.
Very well, then touch take nourishment.
You guys will be hearing that a lot. Let's see here. They have names, it's just like some weird name or whatever.
Farewell, Ashen.
Thanks. Talk to you later, I guess. Yeah, because the Kingsfield 4 names are like references to fans in the community. In the Kingsfield 4 community, like the Kingsfield community. Localizers named them after like the E and B of Kingsfield or something. As I understand it.
You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust. A toilsome journey, I wager. You'll require good arms. Let me smith you weapons. I am a smith. Such is my purpose.
That'll be fine. Infuse. Leave.
I don't want to see
Hey Arizona, what's going on? $50 FPS settings. This is the seed of the Watcher Tree. Seed is yet to fall. In New Game Plus or Double Plus, there's a ring right here. I don't think that's life. No, that can't be the life ring, right? That's almost. I'm angled wrong. Yeah, do you even tree jump, bro? Not a whole lot actually. I only do it like once a playthrough. I get all this stuff and then I don't come back. Placebo effect, let's go! Yeah, that's the final life ring, right? I know there's a could be the wolf's ring actually. Nah, tree jump is fine. I just am bad at it. Yeah. I'm just doing it bad. I think I'm jumping too late. Yeah, it's intended. I'm pretty sure this is intended. It's like, hey guys, we know you know how the physics engine works now. So here's the thing, if you can do it. Which apparently I can't right now. Or as soon as I give up, I get it. Well, whatever. Sure. Hey kids, do you like Mirror's Edge? Poise. Yeah, it's more or less about the angle you attack it from, but like I'm really bad at it. It's too valuable to do a jump without... It's too valuable for them to, like, patch it out. So I think it was intentional. Hi, Pickle Pea. Pump a rum. Poise. Guys, throw off the yoke of poise tyranny. It's not worth it, y'all. Leave this. Thanks for the call over and the bracelets, which is attached to Homeward Bone, which I think is pretty neat to think about. Yeah, like heavy armor being viable, like it is these days, is pretty nice. It's just not my playstyle. See, I came from Bloodborne. Bloodborne doesn't really have poise the way Dark Souls got poise. Alright, let me finish up here and then I'll pop over to the bonfire and pick people up. So, I know I skipped through that, but like, I had to pick this up. I'll pick up dried fingers later. Only fashion matters. Only fashion. So, the Shrine Handmaiden, her ability is she's able to reach into ash and pull out the memory and like make the memories of the stuff in that ash for real, and she sells that to you. It's like a low level of what happened to you. Yeah, the no hem penalty is pretty bad. The thing I do is I usually just buy the Pyromancer's crown and just throw it out on. All right, let's go. Fashion. Fashion's important, man. If you're not killing things while looking fly, I don't know what you're doing. This room Like, I feel like the city of Lothric really did worship the linking of the flame, but in a different way from the Way of Wite. And the fact that this coiled sword is not a bonfire might allow it to be a one-way trip in from the shrine, because all coiled swords are linked to the kiln at some point, but like it's not actually in anything. Yeah, it's also a bit smaller. It could have been actually a primal bonfire coiled sword. Like, it might actually just be broken off. Yeah. So maybe this is to mark what was a primal bonfire. It does look broken. Huh. And it's very autumn in Lothric. There's no bones in the bowl, but it could also be just ash. I heard somebody pick you up. Yeah, it has enough power to draw you, it seems, and then like you can't use it to get out, but there is some remnants of power over here. Let me see if I can summon you too. Hey, Dobie. Yeah, like I feel like fire linking is a main establishment, but it's not the same as like, doesn't feel like it's the same as Way of Wite worship. Hi. Valeria. Alright. Let's go get some stuff from this end. I love these David Lynch trees. Doggo. I like the praying women. Some of them holding lit candles and stuff. Those guys are actually useful if you're like, you want to practice your parrying. Especially against halberd type things. Alright, well, he died. Rip that guy. The guy who got killed first, this one, he has the plus of man. So he might be, someone with the dark sign. There's longbow, which will come in handy. Nothing here. Nothing there. Another woman to pray to. So the plus of man, I've argued, is a plague upon Lothric. Lothric is the last people to link the fire, and I do subscribe to that. And because they have screwed up with the mandate of embers, which is what I call it, they're being punished with plagues and stuff like that. It's it's a very Chinese thing, in that Chinese emperors and stuff were believed that they had inherited the mandate of heaven, which allows them to rule. And for a lot of them, yay, Wiggly William, hi. We'll get to Mad Spirits when we hit, what's it called, but, Wiggly William, Hodrick, but they're neat too. Yeah, so like in Chinese political religious stuff, the mandate of heaven was something that people claimed to become emperor. And it's part of the religion that, like, if you as a citizen don't think that their emperor is doing their job, and you can tell that the emperor is not doing their job by, like, famines and diseases and plagues and stuff happening within China, you are well within your rights, your God-given right, to go overthrow that emperor. And if you're strong enough to overthrow that emperor, you're worthy of becoming the emperor. See where I'm going with this in terms of Dark Souls? When the king in Dark Souls, kings usually declare themselves as rightful kings by going through all of their trials and inheriting the fire. Especially in Dark Souls 2. Vendrick didn't think of himself as a king, and thus he lost his mandate. And you took it over. Here, Lothric is knee-deep in plague, also known as the Pus of Man, which shows you beyond a shadow of a doubt that they've lost their mandate. And they've probably lost their mandate just by being super pragmatic and disobeying filial piety, because it's my opinion that Lothric was trying to kill his father, because his father was in the way, and his sister, Gertrude, was preaching to a choir he didn't like. Politically destabilizing. Well, his father was super insano. I don't think he had a problem with evil. I think he did have a problem with super insane. A little bit bonkers. Just a touch, just a little bit. Alright, does not open from this side. Let's go get the bonfire and come back. Hey, Kill Illuminati. Nice to see you. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, I think Lothric and Lorian are only look out for themselves. Like, they look out for themselves, and I think Lothric has a whole lot of unresolved guilt with regards to how Lorian turned out. Lorian was the strong one. Lorian was the champion. Lorian was the demon killer, the demon slayer, and stuff like that. But Lorian wasn't made to be the inheritor of flame. And, like, what Lorian was and who he was, like, just erased when stuff happened. Like, Lorian was supposed to be the hero, and in every other, like, if this wasn't Dark Souls, Lorian would have been the hero. And his brother, the weak sorcerer dude, would have been, like, the sidekick. But no, things don't work that way. Alright, let me get the other door, and then we'll go fight a mimic. No, Toby! Toby, my friend! Help me. Yeah, like the family Lothric is really cool. Let me switch to the deep battle axe. I'm gonna go get the claymore. I stuck that landing, you guys. I totally did. I didn't totally eat crap when I landed on the floor. Hellkite Jr. Over here. Can you... Junior? No? Hellkite? Are you doing alright? Buddy? Buddy? Pal? No? Whatever. I got the claymore, whatever. Claymore is probably one of my favorite weapons, especially for strength, because of how versatile the moveset is. I don't think I can use it quite yet anyway, and I don't think I'm going to be able to. 1613? Yeah. Herald. For those who don't know, Etain is the lady that Gundyr in Irish mythology was trying to seduce. She was, in a past life, a fairy, and then Gundyr's first wife got really jealous and turned her into a butterfly, and that butterfly got devoured by a lady, and she was reborn as a woman, because the lady who devoured her by accident, mind you, gave birth to her as a human woman. Wait, yeah. Let's progress. There's no point in going down right now anyway. Loki. What? Alright, my dog is like, hey. My dog. Passive men obviously take extra damage from fire if you didn't know. That is why there's a firebomb right here. FromSoft is like, if you don't know, use a firebomb. Totally use a firebomb. Raw gem. The other thing that I think is neat to talk about is FromSoft's use of brothers in Dark Souls. In Dark Souls 2, you have Vendrake and Uldia. Also, a sorcerer and swordsman duo themselves. And then you have Lorian and Lothric, who seem to mirror Vendrake and Uldia pretty handedly. Passwords don't seem to matter. It's like Bloodborne. It just scares you down. It's probably the best thing they did for co-op. It's like if you know the password, then it doesn't matter. I totally got item ganked there, but it's fine. It's almost a little punitive. Like how much they nerf you. Like it's almost punitive. Restore a straight sword, which we'll read as soon as we have a moment. Oh no! Sucks for you to delay that attack. You could have killed me if you hit. So, if you're playing this really slow, these are all of these red lines denote explosive barrels. So you can make this a whole lot easier if you just like toss a couple of well-placed fire bombs. Make sure there's nothing here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. It happens. Right under me is an actual enemy. Rapier. Lothric Castle's pretty awesome, though. Yeah, I'm gonna die. Yeah. Thought I could get on this ladder and get out, but nope. But all that stuff over there is pretty much done, so we don't have to go that way anymore. Finished off by a hollow. Rip me. Use an ember. Heh. Get good. Yep. Man, I wish... Of all the emotes I wish were in Dark Souls 3. The mock emote from DS2. Man, the Astora Straight Sword is really nice. While I'm waiting, let's take a look at what that says. Claymore says, an unusually large and heavy greatsword, normally wielded with two hands. This highly versatile weapon can be swung broadly or thrusted. Rapier, a lightweight thrusting sword used in noble duels employing refined techniques. The primary attack of a thrusting sword is a series of stabs that render foes vulnerable for devastating final thrust. Can also attack with shield up. The Deep Battle Axe is easily wielded axe crafted for battle and inflicting a standard charge. Its weight can be used to inflict high damage, but must be used carefully as it leaves its wielder open to retaliation. And it carries a war cry. I don't know, man. Claymore's wacky good. It's just like... It's just got a really nice moveset. Note that the human ash at the bonfire is even more, like, ashy than it is in Dark Souls 2. Hello! Let's go. This is a sword. You can tell it's a sword because it is a big knife. Big knives are swords. I should be writing Dark Souls lore. Deep Battle Axe is very good, and because it doesn't scale, it allows you really good damage without having to invest in anything other than, like, it allows you to, like, not invest in anything. So that you can do all the boring stuff very, very easily. In New Game Plus or Double Plus, where those messages are, there's a ring. Yes, you can jump to that. Yeah, let's head down. A plague of the pus of man, a plague upon our house. It is actually literally a plague. A plague upon the house. In my opinion, one of my opinions, because I have a couple of different theories about it, the pus of man is humanity trying to consume. And the dark sign isn't as strong as it used to be. And because of that, humanity is escaping, trying to consume everything around it. And it finds this out so that it can consume more, much like a fire. The other thing to note is that all of the knights in the lower high wall have no heads. Very similar to the Harald Knights. Let's go get the shortcut. Because the dark sign itself is kind of dying anyway, so like... Let me get the shortcut. Notice also that the only place you find things infected with the pus of man is anything in Lothric. The only place where you'll find pus of man infected people is Lothric. Hey, Endgamer. So it feels like to me that Lothric basically closed its borders as soon as the plague started. And the wall, quote, appeared, which leads to one of my leading theories about the world design and the Lords of Cinder especially. The Lords of Cinder... I missed it. I'm gonna give it one more shot before I just go and talk to Emma. Circle jump, best jump. If I didn't have summons, there would be a Knight of Ferosa, or formerly of Ferosa right there. Let's get this guy. Let's get the Lucy. Souls. Whatever. Basically, I use, for the most part, unless I have, like, a whole lot of them, I'm just gonna use boss souls, like, boss rewards to level. I just only count on that. Yeah, it's like the Abyss Dragon. Probably Calamite. Ha! That guy went flying. That's hilarious. First time you ever fight him, you get a refined gem off of him.
The wait has been long, Unkindled One. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly.
Sure.
You will not find the Lords of Cinder here.
Where are
They
they?
have left, gone.
Really?
Their journey homes converging at the base of this castle. Head to the bottom of the high wall.
Okay.
Forge
Is there an
on
Uber?
through the great gate and raise this banner to proceed.
Oh, well, thanks, I guess.
This farewell gift is for you. It is the insignia of an old covenant. If you fear trespassers, dark spirits drawn by the embers, then etch this upon your heart. And the old Concord will beckon noble blue sentinels to hunt these foul spirits.
Do I have to pay them protection money? I heard that a long time ago you had to pay them protection money.
Unkindled One, head to the high wall's base. Go through the great gate and raise this banner to utter
Okay.
there.
The dog?
Keeps a close eye on
I hate dogs in Souls games.
the vile watchdog of the Boreal Valley.
Does he teleport too? Fine. Frames, please. Alright, let's go. Yeah, like snakes are imperfect dragons, and it feels like to me that snakes got really jealous that they can never be dragons, which is something I think Dark Souls 1 says. Like, they want to be, but they can never be a dragon. And it's like the one thing they've always wanted. And what is the what can you do to somebody who's really greedy? And the snakes embody greed. The one thing you can... How to make someone greedy go crazy. You tell them something that... You show them something they can't have. Snakes cannot be dragons. They'll never be dragons. They're just, you know, fakes. So that would probably drive a snake, one of those embodiments of greed, super nuts! And one of the big meditations in Dark Souls is a meditation on what greed is and what greed does to people. Da 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 da. He like totally switched his tracking in the mid. No, Bernice! Man, fireballs take too long. he got me. Yeah, F for me too. I got caught up against the wall. Never mind. Either I'll pick you guys up at the bonfire, or I'll pick you guys up at the door. Up to you guys. F for me. I got caught. It was dumb. That was kind of greed. I got kind of greedy at the end there. Actually, the hardest time I've ever had with a fort was my sorcerer character. Your Uncle Kale. Or your KN *** Gale. Lever, lever, lever. Stay up there. Oh, right. I had to... Yeah, he totally tried to Zumba stomp me. Let me pop my ember in a second. Hold on. Ah. Just gonna undergo the time-honored tradition of juking all the things. Could have been, but never was. I don't think they ever can be. Oh, a spear. No, Bernice! Let me see if there's any... Oh. Thank you. Let's see if there's any more signs. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna have to play this not as aggressive as I want to. Damn it. It's fine. I have embers. And thank you to Alex, who dropped a bunch of them. I was in a bad way anyway. I only had like one Estus, and I had to burn it in the opening. Toby! Thanks, Toby. Alright, yeah, it's the other way. Yeah, it's like at the very beginning of doing these runs, it's like you have to either one-shot everything to get a whole store of embers, or like by the boss door. Hopefully I won't aggro like the knight again. And also, if you watch how I usually do boss fights, like I'll ember in the middle of it. It feels really badass that way. Now, consider the fact that we have the pilgrims, and they're all pointed in the same direction, and they are all trying to get to where Emma is. And they're nowhere, you don't find them anywhere in like the upper high wall, which makes me consider that like Lothric itself pretty much closed its borders right after the Plus of Man outbreak started. Alright, let's head off. Wait, is Bernice here? And they're all trying to climb above each other. Upstairs. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Toby. Alright, guys. Let's do awesomely. Let's go. Trying to grab my souls. He doesn't know where to look, though. Look at him. Souls AI. On another note, there was an interview I reread today, right before Dark Souls 3 actually came out, that said that now that Miyazaki is like a company president, he meets other company presidents, and some of those company presidents have become enemies. So, place your bets as to which one is the Square Enix president. Safety heal. Personal enemies he wishes to see destroyed. Good job, guys. Nice work. Up! Good game, all. Vort is the epitome of swing to his backside and hit him in the butt. Also, some things that we can note from this boss fight arena is that these roots are trying to get in. Like, they are from the outside and they are, like, trying to get in. Because when they're closed, it looks like somebody had, like, chucked a cannonball at these doors and almost broke it open, but I think it was the roots trying to do that. Also, a tree. A very nice tree. I can't shut it down. So this is basically like a courtyard, a receiving courtyard and stuff like that. So let's head back. Actually, first, let's read a soul. Souls are definitely flame licks. Especially the ones steeped in strength look more like flame than these souls. Soul of Vort, the Boreal Valley. One of the twisted souls, steeped in strength. Used to acquire many souls or transposed to extract its true strength. Vort served as an outrider knight, never far from the fleeting dancer. And that's your clue that the dancer was nearby. Because he wouldn't be anywhere else. Gwyn was very realpolitik. He was very ruthless about keeping and maintaining his power and his legacy. He set his own children towards creating an apparatus to extend his legacy, i.e., the Way of Wite. And he was very ruthless about keeping his power intact.
That is good, wasn't he?
Nobody benefits but Gwyn's legacy, which is all he really cared about anyway. No, not really. Just embers, but like, we'll get everything we need as we play anyway. Thing we need to keep in mind is the green blossom. Green weed, shaped like a flower. Now, what is a chloranthy? Because I'll just go over this now. A chloranthy flower is a flower, any flower, whose petals have become leaves. Sort of like, there's a flower that's growing up in my backyard that like is like partially petal, partially leaf. But a chloranthy flower is when their petals are just leaves. So like the chloranthy ring is that type of flower leaf hybrid thing. The undead legion of Farron are remembered for using this annual plant, normally found near clear water, to swing their mighty swords with abandon. The sunlight medal, which we got, a medal received by members of the Warriors of Sunlight Covenant for victory over the final foe when summoned. A summoner also gains the same medal. The medal, engraved with holy symbol of the sun, is slightly warm and reminds one of the great honor of a shared victory. In this game, instead of getting tokens fidelity, you gain embers if you're not part of the Warriors of the Sun, which is sad because tokens of fidelity you can burn to like heal your host. Let's see here. Storage box. Alright, that's already tossed in there. A Stora straight sword. A well-crafted sword named after the ruined land. A Stora, before its fall, was a land replete with royal blood, and this weapon is both a reminder and heirloom of that era. Pike. Common short spear that allows attacking with the shield up. Spear's attacks are centered on thrusting, but can inflict high damage when timed with the end of an enemy's swing. And the Lucerne, a pole arm with a sharp, hard-pronged head that inflicts thrust attacks. The Lucerne is wielded overhand like a hammer, or can be swung from the side to break through shields. Lucerne has never been as good as it was in Demon Souls, where it's called the something hammer. It starts with an M. It is at its best there, and it's very good in Dark Souls 1. And almost forgot. I'm never gonna get used to the UIs. Ring of Sacrifice. This mystical ring was created in a sacrificial rite of Velka, the goddess of sin. Its wearer will lose nothing upon death, but the ring itself breaks. A sacrifice is only worth as much as the life it spares. In Dark Souls 2, these aren't in there. They break, yes, but you can fix them, so there's only like 2 in the entire game. Oh god, Hunter M's gonna whisper. Asmir Hunter. Okay. Only Gwyn really kind of benefited. He had the crown, remember? And the crown had power, just like the power out of the Dark Souls 2 crowns. Of course, you don't get that item description until New Game Plus when you buy it off a Dom Hall, but it's still there. The problem with Gwyn's crown is that Gwyn went around breaking his soul apart and giving it out like candy bars. And then he like didn't understand the power in his crown. And then when he broke apart all of his power, his crown was rendered useless, which allowed him to then go hollow. Gwendolyn did deserve better. Gwendolyn was the best. We have an Uber to catch. Let's go. remember, crowns are really important in FromSoft lore. Yeah. Gwyn's crown you can buy off a Dom Hall in New Game Plus. And it basically says, yeah, Gwyn ran around giving his power out willy-nilly, and that drained his crown. I think he's the only god who really directly benefited from anything. Yeah, definitely vodka. Look at this dolly shot over here. I still forgot to go get the binoculars. So there's the swamps down there. The Cathedral of the Deep over there. The mausoleums to the left. All the way over there at the very back is the Undead Settlement. And then out into the fog is Irithyll / Anor Londo. You can barely make it out, and I'm not sure if you can make it out with the compression, but it's right above my head is the very tippy top of Anor Londo, if you look really closely. But what the lift here does is it takes us all the way to the very back of the class. Now here's something that's really crazy. Each Lord of... And I started talking about this and then I kind of trailed off. But we don't understand exactly what it is a Lord of Cinder is able to do. Because we've never met them. The only Lords of Cinder we've met are Gwyn, and he was hollow and he wasn't talking. And maybe Aldia, but he's not really a Lord of Cinder. He's kind of an imposter Lord of Cinder. And then we just met Ludleth, who is sitting on a throne anyway. So we don't really know what he's capable of. But the Lords of Cinder in the world are creating their own realities and their own realms. Now, from here, you can see all of the other realities and all of the other realms. None of this is really actually real, but these are all different fiefdoms created by the power of the Lord of Cinder and fueled by the memory of Ash from the First Flame. Because the First Flame is kind of literal, shrug, and it recreates their world just before they linked the fire, maybe. Now, all of this is one realm. And then all of those are other Lords of Cinder's realms. We're about to enter maybe the back half of Lothric's realm or the front half of Aldrich's realm. We also forgot to get Grey Rat, but I'll get him soon. But I just wanted to finish off this thought. Lords of Cinder are able to create their own realms, and we can see all of the realms of the Lords of Cinder from here. And the only way to travel between realms that are this far apart is from a lift, which is why these guys show up. They transport you between disparate realms. They have nothing to do with Guinevere. They help you get from one realm to another. Anor Londo is its own realm, which is why you travel from Sen's Fortress to Anor Londo with these guys. These guys help you from this realm to Aldrich's realm, and then later on from the realm of the Rubbish Heap to the Ringed City. So yeah, we're able to travel between realms because of the gargoyle demons. That's their special power and why they are even around, or they were ever trusted by the gods to begin with, because they're basically god lift. And why they have lightning abilities too, because they were actually trusted. I'm gonna go talk to Yule. I don't have spook. That guy deserved it. It's true. Doggo. See you, Dangle.
Grant me death. Undo my shackles.
My thoughts exactly. Tiki Boombo.
Oh, then it's true. The champion of Ash, as I live and breathe. To be in your presence is a great honor. I am Yol of Londor, a pilgrim, as you can see, only somehow I failed to die as was ordained. Well, perhaps my calling lies elsewhere. Say, champion of Ash, how does the idea of taking me into your service strike you? I was once a sorcerer. Surely I can be of use. Oh, I am honored, truly. I should be dead, yet you have granted me purpose anew. I, Yol of Londor, do solemnly swear.
I'm just sitting here watching the fight in the background. Alright. Toby, if you want help, let me know. Somehow. Oh, he peaced out, I guess. Okay, let's go. Yeah, the political stuff is super blatant, which is why I love Dark Souls 3 a lot. Like, my background is in political science, of course. I love this stuff. This is the kind of thing I love a lot. My full educational background is in political science, comparative politics, in international relations, which also includes cultural anthropology, and a virtual minor in history, mostly centering on communist nations. That's my educational background. Like, I seriously super adore all the political actions going on in Dark Souls 3, because it seems super rich. The political scene is more or less finished in Dark Souls 1. And there's a lot of politics in Dark Souls 2, too. But it's like, kind of after the fact. Ugh. Getting them Kindles. Get lowered as bone. I still need to get our friend Grey Rat, also known as the best arrow dealer in the game. Welp. Guess she doesn't like fire either. EMB got super lucky. He got her spiked mace today. And super jealous. And all of these are bodies at a tree. Being burnt to a crisp. Eventually, I guess it implies that this fire will end up consuming everything in the tree too. Yeah. I don't need... There we go. Yeah, so like I studied a lot of Chinese, mostly Chinese stuff, and then a lot of Russian stuff, and Russian comparative politics and stuff like that. So that's kind of where all my educational stuff is. Alright, so we just picked up Warrior of Sunlight. While we're at it, Way of Blue. Pale blue sheepskin parchment featuring an illustration of the moon, symbol of an ancient accord. Members of the Way of Blue are the beneficiaries of an ancient accord. When a dark spirit threatens them, a blue spirit will grant them assistance and help root out the invader. Summoning takes place automatically while this is equipped. Warrior of Sunlight, an ancient talisman depicting a holy symbol bestowed upon the Warriors of Sunlight. Equip to pledge oneself to the Warriors of Sunlight Covenant. Warriors of Sunlight are brilliantly beaming cooperators who place their golden signatures to help those in need, for it is their duty to deliver a great conquest to their summoner. It's making... Alright. I'm not sure if I'm gonna... I'll just wait on the sign for a minute. I'm going to bum rush the next bonfire, and then I'm gonna go get Grey Rat, I think. So I have the key and stuff. It's spoopy. Alright, should be... Should be here, maybe. I'm only half joking about this when I say it, but Miracle Grow in the Undead Settlement is made of human ashes. So imagine all of those memories sinking pretty deep into what's this side is closed. Yeah, and like memories form our history is something that they've been saying since Dark Souls at least 2. And as they also say, our history is faulty. And it is filled with holes. And the way we like to remember things might not actually be the way it actually is or actually happened. Nailbreaker.
Ah. You're no jailer, are you?
Nope.
No,
What's a
you're
jailer?
from far away.
Yep.
And judging by the bell,
Oh, you hear it too?
you must be some of that unkindled ash.
Me? Yeah, I
Remarkable.
guess. I know.
If that's true, then I have a favor to ask. Below the high wall is a musty little town.
I think I saw it.
Not the home of any lord, just a very old settlement of undead.
Sure, I know it.
An old woman, Loretta, lives there. Please, give her this ring. I'm not asking for charity. In fact, if you do this for me, I'll be sure to repay you in kind. I may be a petty thief, but I've more wits than most royalty.
Royalty are usually pretty dumb. Have you seen the royalty in this area?
Very well. I humbly place my faith in you. I am Grey Rat of the Undead Settlement, and I promise to assist you.
Alright, well.
Give this ring to old Loretta at the base of the high wall. Do your part, and I'll do mine.
His voice is also in that PlayStation All-Stars game. I forget who he plays. He's also like partly French, which is why his accent's so odd. Blue Tearstone ring. Because this becomes a very small story, which we're going to go through now. If you kill him, he calls out to his mother. So Loretta's probably his mother. A ring set with a large rare tearstone jewel. Temporarily boosts damage absorption when HP is low. This stone is said to be a tear of sorrow of the goddess Kaitha, who, by the way, as we know from Dark Souls 2, only emerged in Dark Souls 2. And many people thought she was not even really a goddess anyway, and that she was maybe a demon? And of course, tears are always more beautiful near death. Possibly maybe a demon? Yeah. Some other things about while I'm doing some load screens is that yes, when you do kill him, he calls out for his mother, his dear, as though he definitely failed. Loretta is an old woman, he tells us. She was probably dying. Yeah, she's like maybe a child of the abyss. Like, it's very vague, but all it says is that Kaitha is probably not really even a goddess, and that she was kind of just made up. So Kaitha could have just been made up. Religions are really funny that way, especially with the best one I can talk about really is the Egyptian religion, ancient Egyptian religion. And ancient Egyptian religion, as you might know, has a huge pantheon of gods, but these gods mold and shift depending on the social mores of the day. For example, Osiris becomes just another facet of Ra at night. So like when people are talking about Osiris Ra, they're talking about Ra as that facet of Osiris, instead of like individual entities. Isis gets this a lot. Bastet becomes a facet of Isis in some epochs during ancient Egyptian mythologies and thinking. So they call it resyncretization. Like facets of a goddess will be absorbed by another god, or they'll be deabsorbed by gods and they become individual entities and stuff like that. Um, so, like, that's probably happened with some of the gods and goddesses becoming Kaitha or Ivlana. Ivlana's a big example because is pretty obviously Ferris. So Ferris's full name is probably Ivlana Ferris. Yeah. Yeah, just like Helios and Apollo. And Dark Souls does draw from many different religions into like this hodgepodge. So Loretta herself, anyway, she's dying. She's very sick. She's very old. She's very near death. So this guy, he climbs the high wall, which is something that's really treacherous, and only he apparently got to the top of the high wall. He stole a ring from Lower Lothric Castle, and he got caught and thrown in jail. And then stuff happened, and he still had this ring. The ring was to protect his mom, or Loretta, if you believe Loretta's his mom or not, because his mom was near death. So it was to like try and keep her alive a little bit longer. But we find her bone, which I argue is just a homeward bone, because it says, old discolored human bone with several holes bored into it. A woman's corpse in the undead settlement was found clutching this bone. Her name was Loretta. How do you use a homeward bone? You clutch the homeward bone, and the urge takes you home. Loretta wanted to go home before she died. Her dying wish was to go home.
Oh, hello, and in one piece. Whatever trinket you just don't ask me where I'm going.
Heavens, she was already dead. Thank you. I'm not surprised, though.
But we got there too late.
Relief, really. You can keep
No,
the ring.
she did die. She wanted to go home, but she died because the bone didn't work.
Trinket of thanks.
It wasn't a homeward bone, and her home was the undead settlement, but she wanted to go, quote, home. Yeah. I don't think it matters where home was, but she wanted to go home. It's too close to a homeward bone to really suggest any different. So he's got Mean Patches' armor, all known as Grave Robber Blige's armor. He's got the Thief Mask. He's got some great arrows. He's got embers, fire bombs, bastard swords, neat things. I need arrows though. Yeah, like Loretta was dying, and she was dying in the undead settlement, and her son, maybe Grey Rat, was gone trying to figure out a way to, like, put off the inevitable, and she was dying, and he couldn't get back to her, and she was clutching a bone so tightly that the holes are probably her fingernails being drilled into them. Like, she was clutching it so tight that her fingernails was drilling a hole into the bone, creating the holes that you read about. Well, when you kill him, he does say, Mom, Mother. Like, I think people read into that too hard, like, or too much. The holes came from her nails from gripping it so hard. She wanted to go home. That's pretty much it. Like, I go for the Occam's razor thing. I'm gonna do a quick save and quit to like push this quest along. Really? Let me check my desktop for a second. I am on Wi-Fi, so it could drop a frame or two. If it does desync with audio, just try hitting the X twice. So now we've pushed the time along,
Heavens.
and now
She
he's
was
all
already
curled up.
dead.
Try refreshing, Toby. Tell Toby he should refresh. It's on my screen.
Heavens.
Alright. Good thing. Good stuff. So yeah, like I think people like were like confused and they were slightly overthinking the bone. The holes came from nails being like when he holds onto something really tight, you just you know, her nails were just digging into it. Alright, so that is that there. Okay, so bridge. We will meet everybody at the bridge. Got about a half an hour left. I like how it's trying to figure out which skybox that you're in when you're loading in here. If you're wondering what this build is going to end up being, I'm going to be using the Onyx Blade. So I'm using this weapon because it doesn't scale and it does some good damage in the early game, so I don't have to worry about damage stats right off the bat. Yay! Yeah, let's fight Hodrick first. Yeah, I wanna do the Onyx Blade. Never actually been able to play with it. Just AI. I can't decide. They can't decide who they're attacking. So the flamberge is a pretty good weapon. Doesn't drop nearly as well though. Bye, Hodrick. Giant grandpa dad. Gives me a vertebrae shackle. You know, that's a really good question, because I didn't really think about why they might have like tail weapons. Other than it was a cool thing at the time. Yeah, humans, gods, and giants. Like, Seath, too, though. Seath has the tail cut weapon. And so does Calamite. And Calamite's obviously a dragon. And Seath is pretty obviously a dragon. Yeah, let's continue doing this stuff before we fight the boss. Because there's a lot of stuff to do. Still. We gotta say hello to Cornyx too. Let's go say hello to Cornyx. Hey Hunter, I didn't ask you about this, and I haven't timestamped the final DS2 videos, but what do you think of the dark actually being personified like the fires are? I always see you healing too late. Let's deal with the upstairs before we collect items. Hey, the worker hat. Okay. Let's talk to Cornyx.
Aha, unkindled, are we? Welcome to my abode. I am Cornyx, an old pyromancer. A crow in his cage, as you see now. But here we are, an encounter for the ages. I hear the unkindled make for fine vessels.
It's true. You heard correctly.
In pyromancies, it seems. Well then, care to learn some pyromancies from this old man?
That's a line I don't get too often.
Most wise. A chance encounter should not be squandered. To reiterate, I am Cornyx of the Great Swamp. The pleasure is mine.
You've been dabbling in pyromancy, as I see. So this is supposedly Cuculus's body. Her armor spawns here when you complete her mini quest. Which makes me wonder, is her armor here the entire time and we don't recognize it until later, or did it just appear here because magic? After you finish her little mini quest. There's a lot of bad ideas that are standard in Orlando procedure. Partisan. Need to get the fire clutch ring. Now, fire clutch ring. These emerged with Dark Souls 2's DLCs. I pointed it out pretty much especially when we started getting them in the DLCs of Dark Souls 2. Ring depicting a hand grasping a red stone, increases fire attack but comprises damage absorption. An old fable in Londor claims that the lore of the clutch ring reaches out to the crestfallen who might otherwise be overcome by despair. The descriptions of these rings in Dark Souls 2 suggest that these are from one of the darker deities. And then it got usurped by Londor pretty wholesale. How much does this kill my damage absorption? Wow, it drops me to like negatives. Holy moly. Phew. Maybe not right now. But soon. Well, I mentioned the whole thing about personifying the dark because I feel like that's another place where FromSoft is playing with our ideas of English. Because it's really easy to be like, oh, it's just a figure of speech. But what if it's not a figure of speech? Agdane says it. Alsana says it. That basically her mother was the dark. And that they gender the dark as a female. And FromSoft really likes playing with our ideas that we know English better than they do. So what if it is actually a sort of sapience? There's the Caduceus. And the Bloodbite ring. Alright, Bloodbite ring. One of the bite rings native to Kareem. We know that it was originally created by Earl Arstor. Increases bleed resistance. The crafting of these rings is forbidden, perhaps owing to a fear of malleable stone. Clerics, however, freely dabble in the art because clerics are a bunch of hypocrites. Signed, Dark Souls. Yeah, and all of the creatures of the dark, or all of the sisters of the dark, are obviously gendered female. Alright, let's go to the tower and talk to the giant. And then come back for the ashes. I'm just asking what if. Something that I started thinking about with like how some of them talk about the dark. And Alsana's like, yeah, she's like my mom. Damn it. Rip me. Well, I don't know about that, the tree birthing thing, but Nashandra looks exactly like Dusk. And I'll put that there. I'm gonna go back to the dilapidated bridge. I'll pop an ember there. I had a missed dodge. Chandra looks exactly like Dusk. Alsana has long black hair. We don't see Nadalia. And Alana looks so weird that it's hard to say what she actually looks like. And then you have Yuria, Lillian, and Frida, who might as well be other Sisters of Dark too. The last 3 Sisters of Dark. I really need the mock emote. Am I being... yeah, I'm being invaded. Well, while we wait for this to happen, I'm gonna read some more item descriptions. A vertebra shackle, a special bone collected by members of the Covenant of Mound Makers, discovered in the corpses of their victims. Only one such bone is found in the vertebra, and the Mound Makers believe it to be a shackle of the gods. In their minds, each victim is another connection in addition to their family. Alluring skulls, a skull resplendent in the scent of souls, prepared by evangelists of the Cathedral of the Deep. Throw to shatter, spreading souls to which attracts enemies, not effective for all foes. Young white branch, a young white branch, used to transform into something which blends into the surroundings. Little Dusk's first sorcerer staff eventually became a seedling, and then 3 white branch serplings. The young branch is said to still contain echoes of Little Dusk's capriciousness. Am I being invaded yet or what? Come on. I guess it didn't happen. Guess I'll go join the Mound Makers while I'm waiting. Let me think here. Best route is this way. Back up. Shed the mortal coil. Get out of the way. You guys have no poise. Get outside. There's that crow mini title entry that FromSoft likes these days. My favorite NPC is behind me, but I'm under pressure right now, so. Another Nana disappeared. So grandson carries a cage. He ever has his cage. And Nana's never coming back. Dilapidated bridge, I think. Nana Man is awesome. I love Nana Man. Nana Man is probably the most Dark Souls thing I've ever seen in the entire series. I did memorize it. That's what happens when you set things to music. I just memorize it really fast. Yeah, great dialogue. And you get a look at the boss arena before you even get here.
Well, what's happened? This pit is for hollows, not for the likes of you sane folk. Or perhaps you are a hollow, posing as otherwise?
Yeah, sure, I'm insane.
Yes,
Posing as sane.
Then we are just fine. It's important to know who you are. But we'll all be mad soon enough. And should you be undead, well, all the more so.
Madness is synonymous with hollow-dumb, I guess, in his eyes.
Beware, the shackles of the gods are fragile. You might need this. Etch it on your heart if you feel your sanity slipping.
Kill Illuminati, there's 2 different places where you can get the Mound Makers in a playthrough. You can do it here, right before beating the boss, because in your timeline, if you beat the boss and the boss falls down, the boss will fall down and squash Hodrick, because Hodrick's just kind of standing here. And apparently he doesn't move aside when he sees the ceiling fall down. The only other time you can get into the Covenant is through Sirius's quest, because then you'll help her kill Hodrick in her world, and you'll get the Mound Makers thing that way. So, Mound Makers, they are insane. They want a family. Very similar to Ornifex, who was making her own family. And it's very similar kind of like setup here, except it's a lot more crude because they're not Ornifex. So they are making a family or anchors into like their world. So maybe they twisted ideas of like the multi-world theory to like anchor themselves to each other rather than to the gods. It's very strange. Hodrick's armor is really cool. I like wearing it on my platinum character. His hat is askew. It's like tilted at a jaunty angle, and he's got like rags and like gold, and he's got his shield. We've met another Holy Knight before too. by the way. He was Holy Knight Aurum over at Aleum Lois, who was Barrel Dude. He's a Holy Knight. So is Hodrick. Both of them have the same stupid shield. Yeah. Hodrick's hat makes him look like he's got anime hair, but that's actually just the rag. Yeah. It's just covering his face because, you know, rag, but he's got lots of wrinkles behind it. He's also kind of green. Yeah. Edgy anime bangs. Yeah. So I'm surprised that Hodrick didn't turn into a barrel in homage of Aurum, because Aurum. Also, who would win in a fight, Hodrick or Jester Thomas? Alright, I'm here. They both are pretty tricksy. One can't be backstabbed. They both drop warmth. They both heal like it's going out of style. But Hodrick's got a flamberge, which is very powerful in this game. If only for the bleed auxiliary. And he knows how to use his weapon art. Alright, no rush. I'm gonna mess my emotes around. Where's the best one? There. This is true. Thomas does time, so he does win on style points. Yeah, the tiny corridors is... I heard the sign. Where'd it go? Ah. Yeah, I've fought him in Sirius's questline. You can actually fight him again in the Farron Keep. I also plan on making Yuria angry. I don't know. Is there any more? Mostly because the armor. Yeah, pale shade set. Wasn't really planning on taking the dark sigils on this character, but I might as well. Alright, let's deal with the tower. And then kill the thing. Pale Shade set is what my Meralda build uses, because there's nothing in Dark Souls 3 that makes for a very good cosplay for Executioner Merolda, but I like the idea of the shade set as a spiritual replacement for the Merolda set. Trying to switch to my shield. Yeah, they can book it when they want to. Careful. Can I hit this from here? Of course it doesn't fall down. Just my luck. It's like a UFO capture.
Another one of those unkindled, are you? All
This is Egon.
faceless undead,
He's Ed.
behaving as if you deserve respect.
And playing the role of Garl Vinland in Dark Souls 3.
Heed my words. If you've any sense, you go find a coffin to huddle up inside. You here, in this land of hollows. You're like a frail maiden on the front lines. If, like the others, you're fool enough to play the champion, then go on ahead. Traipse right past the abandoned church. You'll face death. And it won't be pretty. Enough death to leave you broken. Time after time. Yeah.
Who'd win a voice fight, you guys? Voice fight. Egon versus Wilhelm. Put their voices against each other. Who wins?
If, like the others, you're fool enough to play the champion, then go on ahead.
He's the second guy who calls us a moth. Fentric also calls us a moth. Yeah, the drop is survivable, but then I only have one flask left. Oh, right, I can't go that way. Maybe not that survivable. I think E and B has more vit. Wilhelm. Yeah, it's not going to let you in the tower. The tower is a transition zone. Let me check something. Yeah, I've only got 8 vit, which is much lower than a knight's. Yeah, I mean, well, that one is survivable if you've got enough vit. Or spook. Huh. Right. It is actually the dude from The Witch. Actually, it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw on his IMDb. I'll summon for the Great Wood. Get rid of that. To end the stream. Kill the Great Wood. Let's go chopping down a tree, y'all. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I read on his IMDb. That, Wilhelm's voice actor was in The Witch. Dat axe! Alright, let's go chop down the tree. Well, I guess they can't hear me. Let's go. I thought I had that roll. We're all set. All right. Can you turn around, tree? Yeah, it's pretty gross. This arm? No, it's not that arm. Thanks, Hodrick. Everybody thank Hodrick for his homeward bone. You guys, that was super close. I'm dead. got a bit too greedy. I had like no health. I had like no healing left there. F. I have a particular way of dealing with him, because I don't like dealing with his hand. So I try and save that for last. It's a gross tree, but it's still a tree. The Lothric Arbor Society. I don't know, maybe. Yay! Alright, let's go. I really like the political struggle of DS3 too. Like the religious political struggle. And something I want everybody to think about is the Way of Wite's role in all of this. Considering you have clerics of the Way of Wite as the Blade clerics in the Ring City. Anybody else? Anyone else? Alright, let's go. I like that it screams, but the scream sounds really far away. Oof. Oh, come on. This is my chance at that elbow. God darn it. I was drinking, man. I was drinking. You know, possibly. But it's probably more allied with Earl Arstor than Lucatiel. Yeah. Wrecked. Help me required ahead. These are good notes. These are really good notes. Alright, Vodka. Nice to see you. Good to have you. Man, I want to kill the tree. The tree is not that hard. Have fun, everybody. Who's leaving? That doggo. The spirit tree of frames. What the hell? What the hell, man? Game is just slowing down on this run. So, the way this tree works, just in general, is harassing the red-eyed dude will make it start faster than, like, messing around with the rest of the mob. Knocking out its abdomen will force it to drop the floor fast. So I like killing everything but the abdomen. I like killing the abdomen last. Mira is more about the fountain from Kingsfield 4. It talks about how Mira was this really spiritual place And it had this fountain with holy water, which seems like a direct reference to Kingsfield 4. There you go. Jeez, those frames are just dying. And now he will break the floor. Harold, no! Gosh, the tree's so goofy sometimes. It's like I'm trying to stand up. Look, I'm trying to stand up. Yeah, seriously. Man, the tree's really annoying. BTSR setup, y'all. Damn it. I almost had him. I knew it was gonna pop very soon, but like... Yeah. The King's Passage... Yep. That sucked. I had that, but guess not. I would have loved to see the meetings with it. Like, how did this tree become a thing in the FromSoft meetings? I wonder why my PS4 is chugging on this boss arena. Might be funny if, like, we kill Aldia in the womb, more or less. He's trying to get himself out of a tree. I'm a person. Oh, not a person. So, we got a whole bunch of things. Transpose and kill him. These are all key items, right? There. Yeah. Transpose and kill him. Looks a bit like, you know, souls from, like, dark infused souls from the Dark Souls 1. They have that same sort of grayscale kind of thing, except they all so look a bit like lizard feet. An old transposing kiln from Coiled, crafted with stitched crystal lizard hide. Give to Ludleth, Lord of Cinder, to conduct soul transposition. This kiln can transpose twisted souls to craft special items with their concentrated essence, deemed forbidden by those unable to make proper use of it. So people who don't understand something immediately try to forbid it, because when you don't understand something, you fear it. We also got the soul item of the rotted greatwood. Soul of the cursed rotted greatwood, one of the twisted souls steeped in strength, used to acquire many souls or transposed to exact its true strength. Ever since its establishment, all manner of curses have managed to seep into the undead settlement. The worst of them were sealed away inside of a spirit tree, but eventually the curses took their toll. What if curses are memories and memories are ash? It looks like the soul of the cursed water greatwood is comprised of a great many deal of souls, because if we look at like the fading soul and the soul of a deserted corpse, which you'd expect, it looks like a whole mess of them put together into what looks like a flame but isn't. So, stick that in, make a bonfire. Stick that in there. Let's go home. I know I need to get the Mortician's Ashes and the Cleric set and the Undead Bone Shard. We'll do that next stream.
Welcome, housekeeper. Very well, then take now.
I have 2 slots still.
Farewell, I shall make a flip.
So Cornix is here.
Ah, there you are, unkindled one. I wish to express my gratitude for trusting a lowly pyromancer and allowing me to gaze upon this majestic flame. As promised, I will impart pyromancers to you.
And I look like male Velka, because I look like a raven, which is in the other 2 games something about death. But you know.
Do not be gone, for what is a teacher without a pupil?
Cornix also has erected some, like there's some dead demon bodies here, or dead like goat-like bodies behind him. He's decorated his little alcove. Meanwhile, since we have beaten a boss, it has pushed Grey Rat forward, so now he's stopped. He hasn't stopped mourning. He's gotten over the initial shock, but now he's going to take a whole lot of risks.
Everyone's dead or hollowed away anyway, right? So I might as well fetch some weapons or treasure for you. Well, what do you say? Thank you.
So now he will go on a couple of pillagings, because he's taking lots of risks now. Risks he probably might not have taken earlier.
I ended up rotting in a cell. Goodbye.
And so he'll be gone until we beat another boss, and then he'll have some good stuff. So yeah, let me show what my stats are now. Oh, by the way, that's an egg. This that I'm highlighting right now is an egg. Staring at you in the face the whole darn time. But it's an egg. Just thought I'd point that out. So the aim for this is right now just to bump my vigor, attunement, and endurance up to where I'm comfortable to stop dealing with that, and then fix up my strength and dexterity to where it should be for minimums for Onyx Blade, and then just dump many, many levels in intelligence and faith. Yeah, when I noticed that the status screen luck is an egg, I like freaking died. But this is my stats for Ulwin. Yeah. Jeez, almost 4 hours. This is going to take like 8 hours for me to timestamp. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. There's lots of you guys here today. We're going in to clean up what we did miss in the first 2 zones. I know I've got Mortician's Ashes to pick up and the Undead Bone Shard to pick up. And then we got to pick up a Wayward Cleric. And then we'll move on to meeting a friend in an onion. By the way, Torch just announced their Katarina jewelry set. It looks amazing. But have a good night, and thank you for joining me today, and I will see you guys next stream. See you guys later.